So yeah, Donald Sutherland Passed away. Yeah.
Always a pleasure to see him in anything. I was checking out his filmography. He had a huge filmography.
Now, like we've talked about Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman. Like, has he been in retirement? Like, has he done anything lately?
You know what? He was doing. There was a show. I can't remember what it is. But it was it was pretty popular, and he was working as recent as last year.
Okay.
And I think he was 80 when he passed away. So he was working right up until his death.
Because I'm trying to think, like, the last thing I saw him in, and again, it's probably like a lot of actors of his generation. Like, the last thing I saw him in was Space Cowboys.
Yeah, Space Cowboys!
But maybe there was something since then. But
Tom,
Space Cowboys and
fucking hilarious to mention that. I watched the trailer for Space Cowboys like a month ago.
Yeah.
Well, what is it about? Why are we on the same Space Cowboy list?
I saw it in the theater, and yeah, like there's a type of role that he played when he was younger, and it was because he kind of has these like crazy eyes, and like. So he was playing sort of like he was the crazy guy in the Space Cowboys crew. He was like the wild man who'd get this like look in his eyes and like, you know, was kind of like
you're a loose cannon.
Yeah, the loose cannon of the group. And it was kind of fun that like everybody got assigned their role in that movie. I got to revisit that movie because I hated it when I saw it in the theater. I was like, this movie sucks, and then I never saw it again. I got to revisit.
I'm gonna spoil like at the end when Tommy Lee Jones, I think he's dying of cancer, so he like saves everybody else by like doing an operation that lets him like land on the moon, but they can't rescue him. Right. And then he's like at the end, he just shows him like just resting there. It's pretty disturbing, but like they're like, all right, we got your results back. You actually don't have cancer.
You know,
he's like, oh shit.
or they have a mission to Mars. Where like he like opens up his helmet and then like, you know, his face explodes. Tommy Lee Jones does like the Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall thing, where his eyes start bulging.
Clint Eastwood's like, Tommy, we got the news. You're cured. We're swinging back to pick you up, and his head is exploding. Like I would be scared of like he looks like a bad guy. Like, he kind of scares me, and, like when I was little, I was, like, afraid of, because, like, he has a look that looks, you know, he looks villainous.
He seems like he would fit right in, like, horror movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was in the Body Snatchers, like, the Body Snatchers remake, but he wasn't, like, he was the hero. He wasn't, like, the guy who's gonna, you know, steal your soul or whatever, so... like was he in any like Exorcist? Like what horror? Like he seems like somebody who would show up in like a Halloween sequel, Exorcist sequel.
He was Merrick in the Christy Swanson Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was like her mentor in that, which great role in that. And my like favorite. Oh, he's in this like really creepy movie called I think it's Don't Look Now.
The Babysitter's Dead.
Don't let the Space Cowboys dead.
Don't Look Who's Talking too.
Don't look who's talking. That movie, I just watched it on Criterion. It's really cool. It's like a I don't know, like a thriller, ghost thriller, and. He also didn't seem to be very precious with his roles. Like, he was in, like, B kind of stuff and in, like, higher end stuff. Like Virus with Jamie Lee Curtis.
When I first learned about him, it was like, oh, that's Kiefer Sutherland's dad. That's it. You know, because it's like, Kiefer Sutherland was, like, you know, to me, as when I was a kid, it was, like, when he was first sort of coming on the scene, and Kiefer Sutherland was, like, relevant, like he was more relevant. He was like, oh, you know, he's I don't think he was officially part of the Brat Pack or anything, but he was in that group, you know. Kind of like, you know, he was like young Hollywood,
Brat Pack adjacent.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was like, oh yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, and then it's like, oh, he's got a dad, and his dad acts too.
It is exciting, like with like recent actors, like the folks that were in like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm like, oh, it's Andy McDowell's kid, or it's Ethan Hawke's kid.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure, like, for our parents, when Kiefer Sutherland came around, it was kind of like, like Nepo baby or something. Like there's Donald Sutherland's son jumping the line and whatever.
Yeah, doors are just opening for him. Probably my favorite movie of his is Clute. It's
Clute. Oh yeah.
Alan Pakula's Clute.
Yeah, with Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, like such a good one. I've kind of for some reason have watched it like twice within this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was on like Prime or something. It was on like one of these channels.
His hair looks terrible the bigger it is. He's real like thin, short hair and Clute. Like
it's a good look. My favorite Donald Sutherland movie is MASH.
Guess what? I haven't seen Robert Altman's MASH.
You haven't? Okay, like that. That's what made me a fan. Was Robert Altman's
he's Hawkeye
MASH.
in
He's
that.
Hawkeye. Yeah, he's again coming at that's Kiefer Sutherland's dad. It's like, oh, he's playing the Alan Alda role in the MASH movie. He's so good. MASH, Robert Altman's MASH is like one of my favorite movies. So good. And when I was a kid, I was like a big fan of the TV show MASH. I think we might have talked about it a little bit, like the final episode of MASH a little bit, but I was such a fan of MASH. I thought it was so great until I saw the movie MASH. And then I got angry that like, wait, they've been passing this shit, this like watered down, tepid bullshit. They've been passing this off as MASH all these years, and I didn't know there was this movie that like kicks all kinds of ass. It's got nudity. People are saying fuck. Like saying the F word and cursing and like cheating on their spouses and stuff. Like there's all this stuff. There's this amazing movie, but all I knew was this like shitty sitcom.
But my mom particularly and my cousins love MASH. Like
everybody loves the TV show MASH, and I loved it too until I saw the movie, and it really did ruin it for me, and I haven't really gone back to the show.
I want to do a deep dive on it because like every holiday when we were just at Easter, MASH would be on TV and they're laughing at the jokes. They know like runners, they're like calling back to different episodes. They're like, oh, that's when so and so did that, and I'm like, I'm out of the MASH loop. They're just like eating it up and like
again, and you put Donald Sutherland next to Alan Alda, and like Alan Alda can eat shit. Like Alan Alda, like beloved, and enshrined, a multiple Emmy winner for that role. But it is like maybe like you had to see it in that order. Maybe you had to see the movie first, and then a bunch of years pass. You kind of forget about it, and then there's a TV show, and then you're like, oh, this TV show's okay. And then as it goes on, you start getting into it. And then you're like, oh, this TV show is great, But for me, it was like, oh, MASH is like this great show. And then there's a movie. Let me check out the movie. What?
Retroactively, like, shits on the show. Like, I remember being shocked when I found out there was a movie version of MASH. I thought it was just, like, weird. Same
and it's got nudity in it. Like, it's like, whoa, what's going on?
Well, the actor that plays, the actress, she plays Hot Lips Houlihan.
Sally Kellerman.
She's in Meatballs 3 Summer Job.
Sally Kellerman was like a frequent guest of the Howard Stern show in sort of like the early days of this Howard Stern show, and that like every time she was on, he would like browbeat her over like, why did you originated the role of Hot Lips? Why did you? She was offered a role on the show. Like she was offered that role on the show and turned it down because it was like, hey, I'm a movie actress. I'm not a TV actress. It's beneath me. And then, everybody involved in the TV show became like enshrined, beloved, huge stars, got to work
for like a decade plus.
Yeah, like I'm shocked you haven't seen it. Like that's...
Yeah,
it's like one of the great movies of all time.
MASH is on my like to watch list.
Make that the next thing, and then we'll do an episode about it because it is.
Can't wait.
I think I told my MASH story on here that when I was a kid, I was watching the MASH finale, like on TV, in real time or whatever. The MASH finale, like the most watched show ever, maybe. Yeah. Like I don't know that anything's been watched more since then.
It's huge.
But I watched the MASH finale. And then in it, Hawkeye doesn't get to go home. He thinks he's going home, but they're actually sending him to a mental institution because he's like been hallucinating and stuff. And then I had to go to bed. Like I couldn't stay up and watch the end. So I thought that's how MASH ended.
Oh my
I
God.
thought that Hawkeye never got to go home and had to stay in like an army psychiatric ward for like the rest of his, until the 80s, like from the 50s until the 80s. Like I thought that was the end. So I didn't see the ending of like the ending of MASH until I was an adult, and then saw it and saw that, okay, yeah, he's in the hospital for a little bit, and then he gets out, and then he goes home in a helicopter, and then there's Hawkeye, or
what's
the other
he
guy,
write on the ground? Goodbye.
BJ Honeycutt writes, goodbye with rocks. And I used that in GoBots.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the GoBots comic.
It's like Pavlov's dog, because like that opening would make me depressed.
Oh, and
like,
the song has words too. Like you don't realize suicide is painless. Yeah,
that's another shocker. There's so many shockers uncovered from MASH, but like anytime I'm like watching something, or like when MASH would come on, it would be like the end of anything good for kids that was on this. You know what I mean?
Leave.
Like
it's a grown-up show.
It's like the grown-up show. It's like, oh yeah, your cool shows are over now. MASH is on.
Yeah, I'm a fan of MASH with the laugh track.
Yeah.
Versus with Donald Sutherland originated the role of Hawkeye Pierce in MASH. He was amazing. A drunk, just constantly drunk.
Wow.
If you like meatballs, like you'd love MASH, because it is like it is kind of like camp. It's more like they're at summer camp than like a war movie, and it's got like a big like athletic.
I can't wait to watch this.
Like there's like a big football game like at like the 2/3 mark in the movie.
I'm pumped, Tom. I'm pumped.
Like
great. That's one of Donald Sutherland's like earliest films.
Yeah, he's
in
amazing.
His filmography.
Another highlight for me is The Body Snatchers.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one. I'm trying to think what other like those are like the two big ones for me.
He was he had a small role as the an arsonist in Backdraft.
Right. That's right. That's
creepy arsonist.
He was like he was right, thinking about like creepy roles for him, because he was like the Hannibal Lecter in Backdraft.
Yes. He had a little doll, and he kept calling Robert De Niro like Shadow because they were like arch nemesis. Like he's like, a backdraft exploded and burnt his shadow on the wall, so he kept like calling him Shadow.
That's right. I forgot about that one. That was good.
And he, I think up until recently, maybe he still does like the Simply Orange commercials, like voiceover.
Right. Yeah, you do hear his voiceover a lot.
Simply Orange. Like, take it from me. Wouldn't you want to fuck on an orange?
Like, you never know for sure. When you're watching a movie, but he strikes me as being like super tall.
Yes.
Like maybe it's an illusion or something, but he strikes
with
me
that Buffon haircut. Yeah. I wish somebody would pay us to advertise for orange juice. It's fucking love orange juice.
He's got Gene Wilder. He's got Gene Wilder's haircut. Like they've got the same hair exactly. The other thing was he has like a small role in Animal House.
Yes, the professor. The pot-smoking professor.
Yeah, it is memorable because there's like a scene where like he answers the door or whatever, and then he like turns around and he's like, his ass is hanging out. He's just wearing like a shirt and nothing else.
He's never won an Oscar.
Oh, that's shocking.
I don't even think he was nominated. Oh, he was in Ordinary People.
Okay.
Robert Redford's Ordinary People with Mary Tyler Moore and Timothy Hutton. Well, I think Timothy Hutton might have either won or been nominated for that movie. But he had no I don't know if he was nominated, but he didn't win any.
Was he in like a Stephen King? Like I feel like he was in some kind of Stephen King something or other.
I feel like he was too, but I can't remember.
This is an amazing tribute. We talked more about MASH and Alan Alda. We talked more about Alan Alda than we did.
I'm sure Donald Sutherland has a great filmography.
Because Alan Alda has like a rack of Emmys, and then Donald Sutherland has no Oscars. But he did eventually like migrate to television, right? Like he has been on some shows.
Yeah, like more like dramas, but he's cashing the orange checks. He's
this is Donald Sutherland
for Simply Orange.
Speaking for orange juice. He's always great in an ensemble,
Great people. Yeah, like Kelly's Heroes. He's oddball. He's like a World War II hippie.
Yeah.
They're like...
Yeah, and Kelly's Heroes, like, playing the same kind of role he played in Space Cowboys.
Space Cowboys, yeah.
Bringing it back around, bookending it.
Because he's driving a tank, but he's like, far out, man. He's like, you're killing my buzz, man.
So yeah, I think I've seen three of his movies. What a tribute.
He's Warden Drumgoogle in Lockup, Stallone's Lockup. Backdraft, there he is. JFK.
Oh yeah, JFK. Who was he in JFK? That's right.
His character is called X.
Oh, he was an informant who like gave Kevin Costner like the rundown, where he's like giving him all the answers, like, okay, this guy did this, and then this guy's over here, and they all went this way, and then there was some things over here as well.
He's like, 2 words for you, Jack. Ruby.
Yeah.
What was that?
Ruby, red, orange.
Yeah, I really haven't seen much of Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, you're just like scrolling, and it's like, okay, yes. Okay, maybe I've seen 4 of these. Beer Fest.
Horrible Bosses. Let's see what
his like ignominious.
Let's see what his last thing was. He was on 8 episodes of Lawman Bass Reeves.
Oh, that is on my list to see. I got to see that show.
I can't wait to watch that.
I want to see that show. Yeah.
And that was 2023, so he was just working there. Wow, Backdraft 2, direct to video.
Didn't know about Backdraft 2. Backdraft 2, The Return of Durant.
Backdraft 3, Die, Backdraft, Die.
Yeah. So yeah, Donald Sutherland. We got a to-do list. You got to watch MASH.
Yeah.
That's your next thing.
Here.
Yeah, and then
drink some orange juice.
We gotta watch Backdraft 2. Yeah, we gotta watch some orange juice commercials.
Backdraft 2, the Return of the Durant, like you mentioned. Backdraft 2, Backdraft Harder.